I'm Ann Milner. I'm currently serving in Senate District 18, but I'm running for Senate District 5. Through the redistricting process, the districts has changed a little bit, but the biggest change probably is that it was renumbered. And so I'm running for Senate District 5 at this point. I would say that I've had the opportunity to serve the state in many different roles. And I have a passion for the people of Utah, for our families, for the quality of life that we have here, and have worked hard in every way that I have served to make sure that we try to make a difference for the people of the state of Utah, that we maintain our quality of life here, that we have a vibrant business community, and that we have the support we need in terms of infrastructure related to roads and recreation and water that supports the fundamental foundation for our community.
Thank you. Doug.
Hi, I'm Doug Durbano, also running for Senate District 5. Any question about it? Right there on the bottle of water. Quickly, born and raised here. I thought about it recently and actually realized that throughout my youth, I've always lived in Senate District 5. We've raised our family almost in Senate District 5 until it just recently redistricted. And so I've got some pretty deep roots here, currently also living in Senate District 5. There's a lot to know about me. Time won't permit, so I'm going to suggest, please, if you would, before you vote, be sure and vet. And as we call sometimes in the legal community, some voir dire, to speak the truth. Please go to my website, Doug for Utah. We've got a lot of information on our website, and particularly my 12 points as to why Doug. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Doug, first question is for you. What is your top priority as soon as you take office?
Well, thank you for that. My top priority is to get a hold of government and get it under control. Now, so I understand what I like to call the freedom formula. Okay, it's my own making, but here it is. The freedom formula is lower taxes equals, by definition, less government, which equals more freedoms. That's the freedom formula. And what that means is, right darn it now, government-caused inflation. How you feeling about inflation? Better today than yesterday? No, it's getting worse. The first thing we need to do is make government reduce the pressures of inflation. I'm all about lowering taxes, and that includes holidays for gas, sales tax on groceries, and I might even find some others. But lowering taxes, make government pay the price for inflation. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Aaron.
So I have several priorities. One of the things I've heard from our parents is they want to be much more involved in their children's education, and they want more options. And I think we've got to engage with parents, engage with educators and others, and determine how we're going to make that happen and give parents real involvement and engagement in their children's education. Secondly, we need to keep a strong business environment here. We are at the top of our game in Utah. I don't think we rate high on economic development, places do business, and we've stayed there, and we need to continue to stay there. And we do that by continuing to lower taxes, which we did. We paid $350 million tax cut in the state over the last 2 years. And we also need to do that by continuing to build generational projects that support our infrastructure, water, roads, recreational facilities, because others did that for us. We need to be doing it for our kids, our grandkids, and our
Thank you.
great-grandkids.
Appreciate it. Okay, next question. What is your background in the community? And we'll start with you.
So I came to this community 40 years ago, and I've lived actually in Weber County that entire time, and in this district that entire time. I've had the opportunity to serve in multiple roles. So I've been at the university. I've been an educator, an administrator. I was president of Weber State University, but that started from being a coordinator for health professions programs, and then from there I became an associate dean, assistant vice president, and vice president, and then had the opportunity to serve as president. I've had the opportunity to serve in our community in things like Mission 2000, in things like, which was about doing community planning. I was the chair of the chamber board, had the opportunity to work in on Weaver Economic Development Corporation and other organizations that are about helping us stimulate and support business in this community.
Doug, what is your background in the community?
So I've lived throughout my life, as I mentioned. Currently, I'm an entrepreneur, so my businesses are located here in Utah. I come from the free enterprise, from the private sector. My law office is located here in Utah, in the district, actually with redistricting, I'm a block away, it appears. So that's my background in the community, lived throughout my life, and maybe this is the most important thing though. Because when we talk about our kids and our grandkids and our parental rights, all 5 of my children live in the district, and all 13 of my grandbabies live right here. So I guarantee you, I am highly interested in what's going on in our public schools, and frankly, very concerned. So this is my background. I've worked with the legislature from the outside, sometimes in an adversarial capacity. So we know how to get things done, and we know what's right, by the way. I'm a strong constitutional conservative, and I hope I get asked about that because there's a difference being a constitutional conservative. Thanks.
Thank you very much. What qualifications do you have that give you a strong background for this position?
Thank you. I'll pick up where I left off. I'm a strong, I mentioned that, didn't I? Strong constitutional conservative. And what does that mean? That means not only have I read the Constitution, I've studied the Constitution, and I understand it, not only mentally, but emotionally. I understand the underpinnings of the purpose of the Constitution, which it created a governmental system that guarantees the freedoms and rights of the people. That's its purpose. Every decision I make as an elected official will be screened through the Constitution. And you asked it earlier, so I'm going to get to it as well. And that includes the state of Utah's Constitution. I'm deeply concerned as I deal with the government that all government officials are required to take an oath. I took the same oath 35 years ago to defend the Constitution from both domestic and foreign attacks. Remember, domestic attacks are just as important. And the state constitution is one of those things.
Thank
we
you
need
very
to be
much.
training that in our government. Okay, thanks, sorry.
Thank you. Anne, please. What qualifications do you have that give you a strong background for this position?
So I've been very highly engaged in this community for 40 years. I've been involved in educational activities, cultural activities. I've been involved in the business community, really trying to focus on how we as a community make sure we create a high quality of life for all the people that work here. That engagement, that involvement gives me an idea about what people want. The opportunity to listen and to engage with people in our community, because it's about people and it's about helping solve problems for people. And I get calls from folks who are talking about individual issues that they have. And it's important that we try to meet those individual issues and that we're listening and connected to them.
Thank you. Final question, Anne, we'll start with you. Again, it's important to follow the money. How much money have you been given in this campaign? By how many different donors? What is your average donation amount? And are you willing to disclose your contributions tonight rather than waiting until the required disclosure deadline?
So all of my contributions, first of all, I don't handle any of my finances. Nolan Cares is the treasurer for my campaign and handles all my finances. He actually gets every check and he actually pays every expense for me. And if any of you know Nolan Cares, when those checks come in, those checks get posted. So if you go to my website right now, you can see every check that's been received, because he's somebody who's meticulous about that process. And it's available for anybody to see. And I cannot tell you, because I actually never physically handled it, I cannot tell you exactly how many and what the average is.
Thank you. Doug?
Well, I've been advised that my opponent has in excess of 200,000 in her account, and my people have told me a lot more details than what you shared at this end, so we need to be honest about these things. When we're following the money, we need to look at where the money came from, who supports our politicians. Because one of the things that I've focused on is that if you follow the money, oftentimes you'll find the basis for political corruption. I'm sorry about that, but that's the truth. Now, as for me, I have taken donations from folks within the district. We started off with a policy of a $200 donation. Now that we're into an expensive primary, we've removed the $200 cap, but still the donations have come from private enterprise here in our district. Total amount, I think I'm up to about $20,000.
Thank you. Final comments. We'll start with you, Doug.
Thanks. It's a pleasure to be here, as always. Doug, Senate District 5, would appreciate your vote. Again, I've got to encourage you to go to our website, vet before you vote. There are stark differences between myself and my opponent. That's okay. I come from private sector, my opponent mostly from the governmental sector. We have different philosophies. I'm a strong constitutional conservative, which means I will defend the Constitution. Some say that's extreme. It's not extreme. If you're defending the Constitution, you're protecting the rights of both those on the left as well as those on the right. The Constitution is what needs to be re-enthroned. Return to the Constitution for safety is what I like to say. And that's how we will govern. Number one, though, I want to emphasize it is time and we are past due for getting government under control and reinstating our freedoms. The freedom formulas are lower taxes, less
Thank you.
government.
Thank you. And final comments.
So, every time I've served, I've raised my right hand to support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of this state, and I've signed a form to say I support the party platform. And I do that with a commitment to make sure that I am in fact following that, and that as we review legislation and bills, et cetera, that it's consistent and aligned with that. Secondly, over the last couple of years, we've worked hard to make sure we're returning money back to you. We're a very fiscally conservative state. That's part of our culture. That's who we are. And we do that at the state government, and we've been able to return $350 million back to the taxpayers over the last 2 years in the state. And we'll continue to do that next year if we have the resources to do that. Second is I'm going to continue to support thinking about growth and how we are going to make sure we can respond to things like water development, roads, recreation, things that support our families, and find finally a strong and vibrant business community.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Can we give him a round of a hand?